dive into it, huh? So, we're playing a bit of a brew today. We've got Rooftop Storm here, which says you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for zombie spells you cast. And it's teaming up with Acererak the Archlich here, which says, when this enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed the Tomb of Annihilation, return Acererak to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. So, the basic idea for people that are familiar with the venture into the dungeon mechanic is that there's 2 dungeons other than Tomb of Annihilation, and one of those other 2 dungeons lets you drain the opponent's life for 1 at one point when you venture into it. So we get Rooftop Storm into play, and then you can cast Acererak as many times as you would like, and you can drain your opponent as you venture through this dungeon as many times as you want. So if your opponent doesn't have removal for Acererak and can't take the Rooftop Storm out and doesn't have a counter spell, so if they don't have disruption, you can just kill them with these two cards. The rest of this deck is, we have some mana, Pentad Prism and Lotus Bloom, because we are trying to cast a 6 mana enchantment in Rooftop Storm. We've got some card selection, Serum Visions and Sleight of Hand. We've got some interaction in Fatal Push and Inquisition. And then I'm trying out 4 copies of Shark Typhoon here. While we don't have a lot of very expensive other spells, a constant string of like 1/1s and 2/2s is probably going to beat most fair decks in Modern these days, I think. And you can always cast additional Shark Typhoons, Rooftop Storms, and this just cycles too, right? So you could just like turn this into another one of the cantrip column, basically, when you're looking for your combo. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how it goes this morning. Yeah, if you've seen Acererak in Legacy with Allure, and Rooftop Storm is basically the modern version of that. A little bit more expensive, but blue instead of green. We have a 6 mana spell that combos with another card to win the game. We're basically Amulet Titan. Yes. Basically Amulet Titan. Approximately. Thanks, Jin. Yeah. Last of Us was good yesterday. The combat's a little bit stealthy, which I'm not always huge on, but the story seems very well done. I'm not a proud try-hard gamer, so if the stealthy gets a little frustrating or tedious, I'll probably just drop the difficulty down to easy and play through for the story. Okay, so I think it's important that I Serum Visions on 1 as opposed to anything else, because I want the most chances to hit another land drop here. We've already got copies of Rooftop Storm, so we'll bottoms up on these other 2. Windswept Heath into Glacial Flood Pan. Probably a control deck. You've seen Bant Snow control going around. Could be a Stoneforge Mystic deck too. In which case these Fatal Pushes will come in handy. Yep. There she is. The Sword Whisperer. So they'll get to lead on let's lead on an Inquisition here. We're just looking to find an Acererak and stay alive at this point. Fred Tomato, thanks for the 19 months. Welcome back. So we'll go ahead and we'll take Time Raveler, because I can send Rooftop Storm back to our hand. And then we'll go ahead and we'll push the Stoneforge Mystic off a cliff. Now it is worth noting that our combo does get disrupted by Path to Exile. So like on the turn that we look to do things, we're going to have to think about that as something to play around, but I think taking Teferi is still correct, because Teferi also notably stops Lotus Bloom from casting. Something to note. Wouldn't be surprised if this one gets force negated since they have mana up. They elected not to play the sword. Oh, they're gonna flash in Endurance and start clocking us. That's fine, right? We just like crack, fetch, fatal push it. Take their force negation. Yeah, the core of this deck is built off kind of the same base as Ad Nauseam. It's got some ramp in it. I was looking at different Ad Nauseam lists when I was putting this together. So I don't really want to draw any of the cards that are currently in my bin, so I'm going to go ahead and... I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Actually, I don't really want to redraw Polluted Delta, so we'll let this happen, and then we'll crack the Delta and push this. Oh, they targeted themselves. Interesting. I guess they wanted to redraw Stoneforge Mystic and the other cards we got rid of. Okay, so they have Path to Exile and Sword of Feast and Famine. Yeah, and that's true. I actually have a couple of Drown in the Loch in my sideboard, so... And then, because they have a Feast and Famine, even though Teferi could threaten to be drawn and bounce this, I think we still cast this off the Lotus Bloom, because they could just, Nice. They could just downtick on the Lotus Bloom anyways and disrupt us. So, I think at this point, we actually take the Path to Exile. Because, even our hand's empty, so the discard doesn't really matter on this. And we just have to draw an Acererak with getting rid of the path. So it's the part where they untap and draw Time Raveler, and then we're big sad, but if they don't Time Raveler us, we just need to draw a God, for fuck's sake. This Twitch stream is pre-recorded in front of a live audience. What a frustratingly bad joke. All right, and now we're dead to the sword because they drew a Teferi. So, I think against a fair deck like this, I want more interaction and less ramp. It might even be right to just trim all the ramp, honestly. I mean, to be fair, the part of Teferi that got us there is the fact that it's just like a main deck echoing truth, essentially, right? It's just frustrating that, like, they had no cards in hand, and they untapped and drew exactly the card they needed with no card selection or help. Especially when Acererak was, like, literally on top of our deck. Yeah, Bloom especially is not stellar into the face of 3-mana Teferi. I think I want to keep Profane Tutor. I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to trim that too and leave the Pentad Prisms in. I don't know how this compares to a Proper Storm deck. Well, Proper Storm hasn't been posting any results, so I assume it's dog trash. I've got 4 Shark Typhoons in the main as an alternative 6-mana enchantment that we can just cast off of like a Lotus Bloom early. Kind of gives us like 8 bigger cards to cast. And then it also plays nicely into this board into more interaction post-board along with Jace the Mind Sculptor. In the fair matchups. I'm bringing in Echoing Truth here, even though they're a fair deck, so they could have permanent-based take cards, and this also deals with Kaldra Complete and Token. This is posting results? No. This archetype is not posting results either. I'm just saying like traditional Storm should be a baseline that we compare things to isn't really accurate because like it's not doing anything. So like it's also in the bad brew category. Like this is in the bad brew category. Alright, this is fine. We'll bottom probably Sleight of Hand and Shark Typhoon. So if I keep either of these, it's incredibly likely that we won't get to cast Jace on 4, so I think I'm going to bottom those. Well, you hit the nail right on the head. Like, my deck has no way to gain life. So, like, sitting there paying a bunch of life. The idea of Shark Typhoon is that it's a good card in the fair matchup. So it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense to suggest that I cut a card that's good in the fair matchup for a card that's bad against decks that are playing creatures to the board and pressuring my life total. In fact, does the exact opposite of what I'm looking for a card like Shark Typhoon to do, which is provide board presence and keep me alive. Apocalypse, thanks for the 2/3 year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. MWLX, thanks for the 29 months. And Chewbacker, thanks for the 12 months. Good morning, good morning. All right, our hand's pretty bad. They were vaguely similar. Now, I think the idea that this deck's vaguely similar to traditional Storm is nonsensical. You're right that they're both combo decks that happen to play blue cards, cantrips, but like the similarities basically stop there, right? Like what other similarities are this between traditional Storm and this? This is honestly, I think if you wanted to compare this to anything, it's probably more comparable to something. No, I don't even know that Ad Nauseam's a direct comparison. I think something like traditional Scape Shift. And Ad Nauseam might be close because we have some rampy things in it, like Lotus Bloom and Pentad Prism, like they do. But something like Scape Shift, where you you're like have interactive elements in your deck, I think is a pretty apt comparison. We're searching for a land. I don't know. I don't have to make that decision until we see a draw step here, so let's take a draw step. So if I Serum Visions here, doesn't matter because I'm gonna shuffle the scries, but I think I want to do this because I can hit a land here. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll go top. And honestly, I think I'm just gonna like fetch, and then I'm gonna go ahead and Acererak. It's an awful lot like Ad Nauseam. Can you please link me a successful Ad Nauseam deck at any point in history that's played 11 plus interactive spells in their main deck? Because I personally don't recall an Ad Nauseam deck in history that's played 11 plus interactive spells in its main deck. but I'm willing to admit that I'm not perfect and I could have missed one. So references appreciated. Yeah, honestly, I think Pomoyne actually hit the nail on the head. That's probably the most true. Like, obviously not from a power level perspective, but from a what the deck is looking to do. A combo deck that's 2 cards and also has interactive elements as a Splinter Twin-esque comparison is probably most apt. You'd think after 15 years, the deck search interface wouldn't need to be adjusted every time you do it. Yep. Big mood. Big mood. I'm just grabbing like a Drown in the Loch here. Kill this. Do a Shark Typhoon for the turn. Go ahead and Jace plus, I think. No, I think I'm actually in for Inquisition. Because they have a Path to Exile in hand. So they have Path. Oh, you know what? They use this one Subteeth already. Oh, they found that untapped land. That's scary. Oh, they're just getting another snow land. Sure. Alright, no sword. Don't natty sword me. Okay. We're going to play the Defend Papa Jace game. They have Solitude in hand. Okay. I'm going to plus this here. Put Delta on the bottom of your library. No, I think I'm keeping that again. There's really no point in Fate Sealing them because they have 1 Subteeth. I wonder if we'll see them play Solitude out as a, as just a thing. Oh, they're saving it. This is technically interaction for our combo. So if they draw a counterspell here, I get into a little bit of trouble. But I want to give them the opportunity to do that because I want them to trigger Exalted on this. That way I could brainstorm with Jace next turn. And they drew another Spell Queller, so we're dead. Yep. So I don't think there was much we could do here. Top of the opponent's deck was basically hotter than the sun in both of the games that we played. We knew 100% of the cards in their hand, and they drew a card that savaged us both games in a row. Let's shake it off and move on to the next one. Sure. I mean, we have the Lotus Bloom here for turn 4. We have a Cirque already, and we have a cantrip to maybe dig for the Rooftop Storm. Opponent mulligan to 5. So either a Tron player or someone unlucky. So we'll take Shark Typhoon. Just to take a redraw here, basically. Seachrome Coast concede. Oh, they conceded the match. All right. I'll take the free Moto buck. Shout out to the opponent. Yeah, if you have Rooftop Storm in play, and you have Acererak, and they can't interact with it, you kill them. Because one of the dungeons that's not Tomb of Annihilation you venture into drains them for a life. I mean, the opponent could have just been being a nice person, and like they were done with the deck that they were playing, but they were going to concede to people in the rest of their league to give people free Moto points. Because like if you're 0-4 in a league and you win your last match, you don't get prizes, but you can still concede to someone that could be getting prizes out of Moto. So like for example, if I go and I'm playing a league and like we finish at like 1-3 or 0-4 off stream before I drop the league, I'll usually concede matches to people. Yes, the click efficiency on this combo is very, very bad. You are not wrong. All right, so Collective Brutality doesn't do anything. Their hand's pretty bad though, huh? I guess I'll take Persist. You also make infinite goblins. Sure. You do a lot of things. It's also technically not infinite because the dungeon you're looping for has draw a card as the last thing it does. Okay, so in the continuing our discard spell good beats for the morning, our opponent drew their second land for the turn and is now able to reanimate an Ashen Rider on turn 2. That being said, like, I have a Lotus Bloom on suspend here, so if we just, like, draw an Acererak, we're fine. And this is only a 5/5, so we have a few turns before it kills us. So they'll Collective Brutality, they'll miss, but they got this into the bin. They'll do this and bring this into play. They'll exile Pentad Prism or land. And honestly, maybe I'm supposed to take the Collective Brutality there because it's their discard outlet. And they had 2 reanimate spells. Wait, how did they draw a card? Where did the Concealed Courtyard come from? That's a good draw. Hashtag sometimes lucky. They had this. So their last card is Bone Shards. What was their third turn? Oh, it was their third turn. You're right, because they played the reanimate right around too. Good call. So you go into the Pandelver here. Oh, good. And there's no auto yields. Oh yeah. The Dark Pool's the one that kills them, right? Yeah. Okay. Can you taste the sodium, chat? All right, good. God bless. They figured it out. Thank you. Thank you for saving us the click equity. Hey, thanks for the 16 months, Todd. Welcome back. Yeah, so the click ratio on this combo is not good. You have to like, it's like a dozen clicks to drain you one, basically. All right, so do I just expect a bunch of discard spells post board? Just like bring in the Leyline of Sanctities. The Shark Typhoon plan is not good here. So it's like bring in a bunch of Leylines and then probably a Thoughtseize. Do we bring in Jace the Mind Sculptor? Because he like an Echoing Truth because he like bounced their fatties. Is it probably not unreasonable? Fatal Push doesn't really do anything. Thanks for the 18 months, Sangrief. Thanks for the tier 2. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Ashen Rider. No, Ashen Riders is a dice trigger. It's an enter and dies. I've played a lot of Ashen Rider, chat. Signor Ches. Thanks for the 20 months. Good morning. Sure. Not many combo pieces, but we've got the Leyline, we've got a cantrip, we've got a piece of ramp. Oh yeah, Leyline, the Archon does target too, doesn't it? Yeah, I forgot about that. Good call. Okay, that's a good start. Fetch an island here. You want to use your fetch lands before you Serum Visions, because if you're bottoming cards, you want to like not be shuffling them back into your deck after you bottom them. Honestly, just the Mind Sculptor sounds great. Might even Pentad Prism into turn 3, Jace. Sure, but like if they have a bunch of disenchants in their sideboard, they're gonna get value out of them anyways. It's not so your thought process there is bad, Pikes, because we're not blanking disenchants. So the way you get through disenchants post board in a deck like this is you're either discard spelling them or you're just working through them in terms of density. So like if we were like pivoting to a post board plan that like was going to blank a disenchant, I'd agree with you. But like we're not blanking a disenchant post board, so it doesn't really make sense to worry about it because you're just gonna have to play through them. Hey, look, chat, we found a combo. And then we're definitely in the go for it camp next turn, right? It persists, collected brutality, and then 2 cards we don't know. If persists, collected brutality, and 1 card I don't know. Alright, in the battle of tier 4 combo decks, it would appear Rooftop Storm is superior to Bad Reanimator. Yes. Yeah! We apologize for the inconvenience, but Magic Online may need to restart before you can continue playing. Rooftop Storm, too powerful for Magic the Gathering Online. Nailed it, chat. Nailed it. Inviction, thank you for the 10 months. Our combo is objectively broken. And Magic Online does not automatically log you in and does not have 2-factor authentication. So I always need to make sure before I type my password in, I pull my password length off screen, because if it's the length of my Moto password, they could brute force log into my Moto account, because there's also no login rate limiting on Magic Online. Which honestly is also probably a good thing, because if there wasn't, you could just rate limit anybody you wanted with their username, because there's no 2-factor authentication. The fact that it neither has 2-factor authentication nor does it have the ability to remember your login. Like, at least Magic Arena remembers your login. Like, you load Magic Arena and it automatically logs you in if you've checked the box. Games and Grub, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Small indie company. I mean, I can understand Moto not, like, taking the time to have two-factor authentication, though, because Magic Online is free to play. It's not like there's single digital objects that cost upwards of $150 to acquire. Like, if it was an application where, like, you had to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars to acquire decks sometimes, I would expect two-factor authentication. But because this application doesn't cost money like that, it's fine. For those of you that aren't keeping track, by the way, Ragavans are up to like $140 a pop. On Moto, digital Ragavans are $140 a pop. Games and Grub and Cold Blue Mist, thanks for the follows. Welcome to the channel this morning. It is against the terms of service to buy and sell Magic the Gathering online cards for cash everywhere, not just in Canada. Does Wizards of the Coast pointedly ignore that law exists and pretends services that buy and sell cards don't exist? Yes, definitely. And the reason why they pretend those services don't exist and they let them continue to make money is because Magic Online would be unplayable without third-party services to provide cards. Like, this app, like, I can't imagine having to get cards for a deck on this application without third-party service to provide them. Which would be, you imagine having to, like, track down cards from, like, actual people and, like, trade chats and stuff? It would be miserable. Thanks for the 29 months, Ewok. Welcome back. 60 to 70 in paper ain't cheap either. I mean, that's half the price of a digital monkey. Digital monkey's so expensive. Obosh the Prey Piercer. Man, I'm pretty sure this is mono red aggro. And, like, our hand's fine, but I bet we get run over. We're on the draw here, too. I do at least have a fast land on one, which is nice. Okay, so Monkey can never live, chat. Must murder Monkey. Monkey must die. Okay, so am I supposed to suspend Profane Tutor? These would both come off the same turn then. I think we're supposed to suspend Profane Tutor. $140, more like dies to Fatal Push. Am I right, chat? That's how they'll actually eventually kill Moto. They'll simply start enforcing no buying/selling. They won't actually need to shut it down. People just won't want to deal with it. You know, no joke. That might really be how things end up, huh? Okay, and here we see my incredibly greedy 2-color mana base getting properly punished by Blood Moon. Because the greed of my deck knows no bounds. Now that being said, you know, I'm gonna have a Lotus Bloom, and I'm gonna search for a thing next turn. So we could kill them next turn with a good draw. So, like, we're gonna fetch Rooftop Storm, and then we could draw Acererak and win the game next turn. Well, to be fair, anybody that gets their Jace the Mind Sculptor killed by a lightning bolt, they deserve that, because they should have been plus in that bad Mamma Jamma. All right, and we're technically not done on board, so we'll pass and take a draw step. Dead to a stiff breeze here at 6, but okay, they have 2 lands in hand. How are we sideboarding here? Drown in the Lochs are coming in. Extra Thoughtseize coming in to try and tag Blood Moon. Big difference play versus the draw makes, right? Because, like, had we been on the play this game, I would have resolved a Thoughtseize before they could Blood Moon us. Oh, that's true. Yeah, let's look at the top 2 cards of our deck. I could have gotten 2 looks last turn. All right, we'd have missed, but that's a good point. I didn't think that I had 7 mana there. Definitely could have done that. So it's definitely a matchup where Shark Typhoon is not good enough. Honestly, a couple of Pact of Negations are probably fine. Maybe we just bring a Dispel, actually. Let's do that. So the problem with Leyline to dodge bolts is that the bolts will simply get pointed at Acererak, so wouldn't have had black for Acererak if we slayed it. You don't spend mana on Acererak. You cast Rooftop Storm, and then Rooftop Storm lets you cast this for free. So we're only black in this deck, not to hardcast Acererak, but because black gives us disruptive elements, and it gives us Profane Tutor to search up our combo pieces. The fact that the black cards let us actually cast Acererak is a happy accident. I'm going to lead on Murkwater Pathway, so that way we can Fatal Push their 1-drop creature. This hand, obviously not fast to combo, but it's a little bit interactive and it's got some mana, so if our pieces come off the top, we're in a decent spot. The pathways are worth learning the names to because they are going to be format staples for a long while. They'll see Fringe play in Modern. They're going to see play in all the arena formats from now until forever. They'll see plenty of play in Pioneer. Okie doke. My plan of drawing meaningful spells has not come together particularly well this game. I'm going to go ahead and push this, because I think they're usually a light up the stage deck, so I'm going to not give them a free spectacle trigger here. Look at that, chat. Know your enemy. Fetch a swamp, get that valuable deck thinning in. Cast my gain 1. Oh, well then. The stage is about to be lit AF. Does taking a light up the stage count as a gain 4? Unsure. Oh, Pirate Spellbomb sits here and lets them interact with our combo too, right? So come as a surprise to many, I'm sure, but I don't think our deck is very good. I guess we'll top that to Murder Taylor here. This actually wasn't a donation deck. I only have one modern donation deck in the queue, and I couldn't get Ragavans to play it this morning. They were out of stock. I wasn't about to skip a mortgage payment and put $600 into Moto to get them without being able to borrow them. Are we dead? They flashback, dart. And the Pirate Spellbomb kills us. Good chat. Good chat. Aqua Lucas, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. But after you win with a 5-0, he'll bump the price up and he can sell them for a profit. I mean, you're right when people say, like, it's technically not $600 because, like, you get some of it back. But also, like, I have to go through the effort of, like, putting the money into Moto, buying them, losing, like, you lose, like, 10-ish% or something like that, 10 to 20%. So, you lose, like, 60. It would actually cost me, like, I don't know, probably like $100 and not $600, but it would tie up $600 because I'd have to have the money in the application until I pulled it back out. Yeah, I'd assume I'd lose closer to probably 20% by the time everything was said and done. Yeah, the 3-2 emote got replaced by something else when we were on our. We didn't play Moto for a long while. Yeah, usually the conversion from tickets to. I keep this even though we don't have a second land because, like, we have a ramp and then these, so. I have 2 draw steps at a land or a cantrip. Buy low and sell high, something like that. Huh. That seems actually incredibly bad for us. I'm going to take the Abrupt Decay because it kills my mana. Alright, this was the final sign that I needed that our deck is definitely bad. I just Inquisitioned a handful of Boomer Jund cards, and I think we're in trouble. So if my deck's in trouble against Tarmogoyf, it's probably not playable. We'll suspend this. Yeah, the red-black monkey deck is basically Zoomer Jund. It's like Jund, but for 2022, 2021, whatever year it is. So long, Acererak. I hardly knew ya. At least I could take the Pentad Prism and try and choke me on mana. Cock. Thanks for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Is Jund really bad these days? Jund hasn't been good in a very long time. Just playing, like, honest creatures that beat down isn't particularly good. wouldn't mind another land. Sweet. General is passable during Hagak times. You mean 4 Leylines of the Void and miscellaneous other cards were passable during Hagak times? It wasn't that Jund was good, it was that you could predict over 25% of your matchups were going to be the same thing, so you could justify playing a deck that just, like, was bad because you could just beat it with sideboard cards. All right, so they discarded an Acererak, so that's the one I'm going to want to search up here. Because we're less likely to draw that one. And then I think I actually just go ahead and pass here. Because I want to cycle Shark Typhoon to make a 1/1 to poke Renin 6 for a turn, so they can't ultimate this right away. So they have Blood Crypt, Tarmogoyf, and then one card I don't know in hand. Discard the Shark Typhoon before Dothry Voidwalker comes into play. One Zombie Storm, please. Rats. Well, alrighty then. Genja Sensei, thank you for the tier 1. I appreciate the 2.5 years. Welcome back. And we'll poke Renin 6. Yeah, then we could go ahead and cast this. And how do I know what these do? I can right click. Scry 1 versus gain 1 scry. So I wanna scry 1. Because I want a Rooftop Storm. So I would like to scry into Rooftop Storm. That one on top. Okay. So if they brick, we win the game, right? All right, they didn't brick. All right, Leyline of Sanctity gets to come in. Damnation comes in. Mind Sculptor comes in. I don't want these discard spells. I want these Drown in the Lochs. What does our deck do? It dies terribly. For people that are wondering why I'm conceding to their thing there, they get to replay it from the bin with Luris. Is the thing you are missing if you don't understand why we lost. YOLO. Well, this is going to be a really, really fast league, huh? 50 minutes in. People are going to think we didn't play all the matches. But we definitely played all the matches. They are a Dragon Rage Chandler deck. Our opponent just has an unnatural love for Tarmogoyf, so they weren't able to just play red-black. Maybe they're splashing green for Tarmogoyf as a budget Ragavan. One of our 2 wins was our opponent conceding the match without playing any turns. They attack with some 1/1s here. We can Shark Typhoon them. Maelstrom Pulse, read. So I'm going to let their Surveils resolve. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a 3/3 here. Since we're losing the Pentad Prism anyways. Okay, need some mana. Bottom, top. Take the bolt here. So it lets me stonewall them for a little bit with the shark as far as the Dragon Rage Chandlers go. And so this tells them that I have the Acererak, but I want to get my scry on. And then actually, the mine tunnels will make us a treasure token. So I get to Acererak next turn and make a treasure token. Which lets us cast Rooftop Storm the following turn. So 17 months, Docty. I appreciate that. Welcome back. All right, if they just drew a blank, we could get him here. Okay, looks like they're dead. Yeah, so I held the land here, so they didn't know that I guaranteed to have the land this turn. There's a storm brewing shit. Let's go on an adventure, baby. You finish the adventure. You draw a card. What? Finish the adventure? No. I need more adventure. Right now. Back to the lost mine of the Pandelver. I appreciate the opponent playing into their persona of being a boomer playing Boomer Jund and not understanding how my newfangled combo works and conceding. They're probably over there like, these damn kids and their Rooftop Storms and their Acereks playing games instead of casting Tarmogoyfs. What in the heck's a dungeon? My Tarmogoyf's a 5/6. It attacks your dungeon. You can feel the sodium bubbling up from the screen right now. So my opponent just like sits there in their boomer lair. Oh, I did technically misclick here. Let's try and not do that again, huh? Can you feel it? Feel it in the air tonight. The sodium. They're so salty, salty little John player. 'Cause their Tarmogoyfs are bad. The Tarmogoyfs so bad. Man, imagine casting Tarmogoyf in 2021, chat. Imagine casting Tarmogoyf. So chat, they paid their $10 for this league. They're gonna get their expected value here. Yeah, I'm gonna change things up. I'm gonna hit the mine tunnels. I'm gonna fatal push the crap out of one of these Tarmogoyfs. Send a message. Let them know that I technically have unlimited mana here as well. And for those of you that aren't really sure what's happening, you'll note that every time I click Dark Pools, my opponent's life total goes down by 1. So it's just like, it's like 40 clicks per 1 damage. Oh, look at that. My opponent decided that their time was worth something, that I wasn't going to time out while doing this. God bless. Good chat. You know, honestly, with the Braids and Abrupt Decays and stuff, do I, like, even want these cards in my deck? I probably don't, right? Just, like, put Sleight of Hand in and, like, 2 Echoing Truths to interact with their board on occasion to buy time. Just, like, board out all of our artifact mana. Just play it real fair-like. It's real bad, Irate. I'd like to think of it as bad Splinter Twin more than bad Ad Nauseam. Although, honestly, calling it bad Ad Nauseam might be unfair to this deck because, like, Ad Nauseam's really terrible. So there's a good chance that this is actually good Ad Nauseam. Non-zero chance that our deck is actually a step up from whatever tier Ad Nauseam is post-Simian Spirit Guide. In it to win it, chat. Mana, cantrip, Leyline of Sanctity, tutors, sign me up. Listen, chat, there is nothing wrong with playing a bad deck that you love, especially in formats like Modern and Historic. Like, you'll pry my meatballs from my cold dead hands, chat. But I'll also acknowledge that that deck's probably not very good. So I'm a realist. It's fine. It's fine to love your bad deck. Love it. Cherish the moments you've spent together with your bad deck. I would never tell you not to love your bad deck like a child. They took our Mana Monkey and gave us Pirate Monkey for $1 gorillion. They did at least print a follow-up monkey. Ragavan, $136 dues. You are allowed to love Maze's End. All right, the real question is, do they have a Maelstrom Pulse for this Leyline? Cherish your time spent with your bad deck, he says, as I'm adjusting the sideboard of my historic Grixis deck. That definitely fits. All right. There's a lot of rage here from the opponent, chat. They're very angry. Why are boomers always so angry, chat? Was my card preview window? Okay. So I was wondering what happened and why my card. I thought OBS messed up and like OBS was just like stuck capturing some kind of phantom preview window because it was stuck on Acererak. But Moto. Oh no, wait. Okay, it's locking up now. Okay, so on my third monitor over here, which I can't show you because I don't have it screen captured, the main navigation for a different preview has locked up. So there was a second Moto preview window that was stuck on Acererak. It wasn't OBS, it was Moto, which makes sense. OBS is a quality piece of open source software. Jerpanda, thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm gonna enter the dungeon of the Mad Mage, chat, and gain a life. Cause B, thank you for the 62 months. That's such a long time. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So I didn't want to just play this and scry in the Pandelver dungeon because I have a Profane command coming off Suspend next turn, so it's going to shuffle the scry. So we'll fetch Rooftop Storm. We'll play a land. We'll go down to the dungeon level and scry. Oh, you know what? Maybe I did mess up here and I should have taken the useless scry because I would have gotten a treasure token on my second adventure, which would have let me ramp. Yeah, I actually made a mistake and I'm going to kill a turn slower because of my mistake. I'm a cycle the Shark Typhoon. Ha 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 ha. Staying alive, staying alive. Beep 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 dee 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 dee. I guess I could have played an untapped land this turn. And I could have ditched, I could have threatened to trade with the Luris. The Shark Typhoon. Yeah, that's probably what I should have done. I should have played the untapped land so I could threaten to trade with the Luris. It's not a terrible pickup. Although the Crocs pressuring our hand here is a little scary. Okay, so we play this. We do this. We scry 1. They're dead. No, this costs 5. Need a land on top. Oh, bottom that. Need a land. Need an untapped land. There's 1 Darkslick Shores left in my deck. Thanks for the tier 3 and for the 23 months, Beansy. Good morning and welcome back. Happy Friday. Yeah, it makes a treasure, but it cost me 3 mana to make a treasure, Steric. And then I'm going to die on their next attack step. I think going into the Mad Mage was actually wrong. If I would have gone... Oh no, they found the Maelstrom Pulse. They have a discard spell too. Good game, opponent. So, I'm pretty sure I punted this game by going into the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. If I would have gone into... and we're dead to the Crux though. So if I would have gone into the middle dungeon like I should have, I would have been able to make a treasure token on the second venture in, which would have let me cast the Rooftop Storm on turn 4, or on turn 5, which there's a chance that even if I did that, they had like a lightning bolt or something to interact with this, but it definitely would have been the better line. I was too focused on the fact that I would lose my scry to the tutor shuffle and not thinking through enough that the second Acererak play let me get a treasure to ramp up, which honestly seems like something that would probably come up pretty often if you were going to do this. Like, you do this on 3 and 4, so you could do this on 5 and kill them. I don't know. Overall, this deck seems pretty bad. There's just like... it's just too flimsy to interaction, right? Like, the fact that you're not a fully spell-based combo deck and your opponent disrupts you with things like Path to Exile and Lightning Bolt and stuff like that means it just seems like it's definitely not good enough. So, I don't think this is something I'd play again. It was cute. I'm glad we tried it. I'm glad I have a YouTube video to reference at some point when people ask about it, but definitely did not seem particularly good or exciting. What's going on, Mobile? Thanks for the Prime support. Welcome to the channel this morning. All right, at any rate, let's shift gears. We're going to start Arena a little bit early today.